Let's greet to each other, to our friends. You made it through icy road. To your neighbor friends, to each other, turn around. Dear friends, welcome to Sunday Live Dharma. Today, we remember Thai Thich Nhat Hanh in gratitude with the palms together in silence. No coming, no going, no after, no before. I hold you close to me. I release you to be so free, because I am in you and you are in me, because I am in you and you are in me. Now, please stand up for Qi Gong. Feet firmly on the floor. Drop shoulders, drop out tailbone. Gently, fully open your back, stretching. Open your fingertips. Softly drop our knees by dropping our tailbones, cross hands, breathe in, rise up, feel free, and drop, softly drop. Breathe in, breathe out. Like a snow melting from sunlight, breathe in, each movement, let all your tension melt away. Breathe out, exhale, drop softly. Very good. The opposite way, breathe in, fully open, embrace, big hug with our all friends and community, and let the soft, loving energy wash down from our head, shoulder, and whole body. Again, breathe in. It's like a beautiful bright sunlight above the tension, all melting and loosen away down. One more time. Breathe in. Invite the infinite universal energy. Breathe out. Now hands on our tanjan, the thumbs are resting on our belly button, rest of hands relaxed. Tip of tongue, our tip of tongues rest on the roof of our mouth. Breathe in, feel the expansion of our lower abdomen, 단전. And relax. Breathe in, expansion of the Qi energy. And drop, relax. Just focus on the expansion of your breath. Breathe in, rise and fall. Breathe in, rise and fall. So let's maintain the sensation during our meditation today. Now, let's open our Qi energy from our shoulders by moving our hands all the way back. Breathe in. Stretch far above, tall, and lean forward. Drop forward, down. Almost touching the floor. And swiftly move backward. All the way up. And down. This is called Qi Gong, rowing the boat. So we row the big oar, we row the boat. Again, breathe in, all the way back up. Okay, huge heave, forward. Stretch your back all the way forward and drop towards the floor. Up and down. Would you like to one more time? So imagine you are really just using all full strength, and then when you go down, you are touching the bottom of the river or ocean. Breathe in. If you want, you can stand on your toes, but don't fall forward. Very good. And then similar movement, but we're going to do the side way. This time, instead of playing Qi Gong in the ocean or water, we're going to play in the sky. So raise hands up. Beautiful day. We get to sometimes have a rainbow. It's a rainbow Qi Gong. Open your fingers. So acknowledge each finger from one at a time. Open one at a time. Okay? Ready? One more time. Breathe in. Closing Qi Gong. Breathe in. And let's drop all the thoughts and tensions. Exhale. Today is a perfect day to invite the image of a melting away like a snow. Breathe in. Each breath is like a sunshine. Breathe out the heavy tension, thoughts melt away. This time breathe in, rise up more. Breathe out. Thank you for joining Qi Gong. Now let us practice 4 bows. You can join us with a standing bow or kneeling down bow. Please stand if you can in front of your mat.
With gratitude, I bow to the grace of heaven and earth, honoring the infinite source of marvelous existence. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of parents, ancestors, and everyone who has given me life and nurtured me. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of fellow beings, embracing the truth of interconnectedness. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of laws, which guide us to develop justice and freedom through Dharma and universal principles. Meditation is simple and easy. Anyone can practice it. Please take time to find your most comfortable position on the floor or in a chair. Wiggle to release any tension in your body, rock front to back or side to side like the pendulum of a grandfather clock, until you find the point of perfect balance. Breathe in, grab all your tension. Breathe out. Release any mental or physical uneasiness. Relax your whole body. It is all right to slouch a little bit if that feels more natural. Just remember to let your mind's eye focus on belly breathing. Breathe and listen to your body. If your body agrees, gradually sit up taller, gently straighten your spine without losing focus on the energy in your lower abdomen. You may start to feel your lower back growing stronger and your chest and heart opening. Now open your eyes softly and look straight ahead with a level gaze. Without moving your head or eyes, let your eyelids relax and drift downward to their most comfortable place. While keeping your ears softly aligned with your shoulders, tuck your chin in slightly and let your shoulders melt away from your ears. Enjoy the sensation of your arms and hands relaxing. Now bring your awareness to your tongue. Place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth. While your tongue is relaxed on your palate, pure and clear saliva may gather in the mouth. This is a delightful sign of cool energy ascending. Smile at your calm and clear spirit. Invite your awareness to return to your lower abdomen, your Qi energy field. This is called the Tanjan and is located about 2 inches below your navel. Your Tanjan is the power center for your breathing. Scan your entire body to see if there is any tension, especially in your face and head, neck, and shoulders. If your face or body begins to itch, simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly so that you maintain a calm stillness and honor the silent practice of those around you. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be distracted by them. Do not react to your thoughts or pursue them. Recognize them as just thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. Continue to bring your awareness back to your Danjan abiding breath. When your mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused, and at peace, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation. You will no longer feel any distinction between yourself and others, finding yourself free from the limits of time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, deeply aware of our ever calm, ever alert spirit. Page 10 in the chant book. Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, when deeply practicing Prajnaparamita, realized that all five aggregates are empty, and thus became free from all suffering and distress. O Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is true of sensations, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. In emptiness, no form, no sensations, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eye, nose, tongue, body, or mind consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment with nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva relies on Prajnaparamita, therefore the mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Free from delusion, one dwells in nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future rely on Prajnaparamita and attain supreme enlightenment. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the great mantra, is the great enlightening mantra, is the unsurpassed and unequaled mantra, which is able to eliminate all suffering. This is true, not false, so proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra, which says, gone, gone, gone beyond, far beyond, now awaken, gate, gate, para gate, para sangate, bodhisattva, gate, gate, para gate, para sangate, bodhisattva, gate, gate, para gate, para sangate, bodhisattva.
Now you may continue to your sitting meditation, or please lie down for lying down meditation. As you are relaxing your mind, heart, and body, today, Lara, Reverends Young, and Gong are going to offer a chant.
10 contemplations on Namu Amitabha.
With the blessing of this chanting, may the karmic bindings of all sentient beings be resolved. Namu Amitabha. With the blessing of this chant, may all troubled souls find peace and be free. Namu Amitabha.
With the blessing of this chanting, may we be liberated from birth and death, to freely come and go. Namu Amitabha. With the blessing of this chanting, may we conquer all temptations and hindrances.
Namu Amitabha. The blessing of this chanting, may our sixth sense always be clear. May the light of wisdom shine. Namu Amitabha. May the blessing of this chanting, may the dust of past, present, and future worlds disappear, so the bright mind moon shines alone. Namu Amitabha.
With the blessing of this chanting, may our minds and hearts become limitless Dharma vessels to transmit the spirit of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Namu Amitabha.
With the blessing of this chanting, may the countless sentient beings of infinite worlds achieve Buddhahood. Namu Amitabha. With the blessing of this chanting, may the whole universe be purified. Namu Amitabha. With the blessing of this chanting,
through countless ages, may
Slowly come to a sitting place.
This morning, Reverend Qi Gong will give us a Dharma talk on no self in practice. This is an opportunity for us to practice deep listening as we listen to her message.
Good morning. As announced, this year's Sunday Dharma talks will be mainly focusing on Chapter 7, the principle of the nature, and Chapter 8, Buddhahood, from the scripture of the founding master. I thought, what a wonderful opportunity for all of us to deepen our awakening to the truth, the principle of the nature, which will in turn guide our practice to the right path. Especially Chapter 7, the principle of the nature, casts many hwadus, keywords that create doubt to us. For example, not, but not either. What on earth does that mean? The hwadus help us generate the sense of questioning, without which we cannot have an awakening. Hwadus are like guideposts that direct us to the original principle of all things in the universe and the principle of our self-nature. So, being able to understand what a hwadu means with our minds is like being able to read a guidepost. But what's more important is for us to actually get to the destination. Actually observing our own self-nature or all things in the universe, seeing the principle there and saying, that is what the hwadu means. Gaining awakening. But why is that so important? The founding master said, seeing the nature is like mastering the alphabet when we are learning a language. Even if we want to write a great literary masterpiece that can touch many people's lives, if we don't know the alphabet, we simply can't. The reason we practice is to save ourselves and others from suffering. But if we don't see our own nature, if we don't know the principle of the nature, no matter how much we want to save ourselves and others, it will be the same as not having the most basic tools to do it. We can't save ourselves, not to mention others. And once we have the tool, we, of course,
should apply it. Apply the principle to our own practice. So today, I'd like to talk about one of the most fundamental hwadus for us. Who am I? And the Buddhist notion of no self. The notion of no self is quite confusing to many of us. You may think, there is no self? Then what is it that is talking right now? What is it that answers when someone calls your name? Are you saying that whatever that is doesn't exist? No. The notion of no self doesn't mean that. Then, on the other hand, what is self? There is no clear-cut answer to that either. What is it that we consider as self? Is it this body? No. This body is simply a material thing that consists of elements. If there isn't something that makes it alive, this body wouldn't be much different than a dead piece of wood. Who am I then? I am Qi Gong. Well, that's just a name. Then I'm a person who was born in Korea and the one who did this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's just a piece of information. Who am I? Or a more accurate question would be, what am I? I am this being that has this personality and certain patterns of response to situations. Well, either personality or response patterns are not something fixed. If I had more time, I could go on, but when we really think about it, we soon realize that we cannot be defined in any way. Any answer to that question cannot hit the mark. But we know that something that is talking right now does exist. Something that sees, hears, smells, tastes, feels, thinks, talks, does things. We call it numinous awareness. When we are in deep, dreamless sleep, it feels like it's gone. But when an alarm goes off, it's right there. It hears and wakes up. As such, it transcends being and non-being. It is the numinous awareness that works so hard, gets along with people, or doesn't get along with people when it is deluded. Through the endless process of creating and planting seeds and receiving the effects, it creates our lives. And I receive what I sow, and you receive what you sow. No one else can receive it instead of me or you. There is not a hair's breadth of uncertainty in that regard. Then can I think of the numinous awareness as myself? We call it by our names, and that's how we function and communicate with others in this society on a daily basis. As Michael mentioned in his talk about no self, the conception of self starts to form very early on in our lives and is continuously reinforced by our social interactions. However, our original nature, which is described as the numinous awareness, doesn't have a name intrinsic to itself. We just name it arbitrarily. And it is impossible to describe or define it either, as mentioned earlier. Our original nature, the numinous awareness, just like that of heaven and earth, neither arising nor ceasing, it exists on its own. In its original state, there is no discrimination, no deluded thoughts, or no sign of self. That is why it is also called void and calm, luminous awareness. That is our pure, true self. But here is what causes problems when I think of the luminous awareness as myself. I create this additional conception of self in it. Then the conception covers my luminous awareness, and that I, with the conception of self, become the master of myself and create suffering for myself. For example, when I feel that someone embarrassed me or was disrespectful to me, I may not feel very good about it or even get mad at the person. When I don't receive proper acknowledgement for what I did, or when someone dislikes me, it can be painful. And defining myself with labels, I'm always like this, I'm always like that, believing that label as myself and feeling miserable about it. Being too concerned about what others would think of me and being restrained by it. The list goes on and on. Have you noticed what the conception of self feels like? It's about trying to reveal and leave a good image of ourselves to both others and ourselves, whatever a good image means to each of us. So when that attempt is frustrated, we experience suffering. The conception of self is simply a delusion that is created by our mind. That is what the Buddhist notion of no self means. In the original state of void and calm luminous awareness, there is no conception of self, no sign of self. The luminous awareness can function and do all sorts of things without having the conception of self, just like heaven and earth. Then, what would it be like to practice no self in real life? To begin with, we need to ask ourselves whether we want to continue this suffering. The conception of self is the root for conceit, greed, hatred, and delusion. Do we want to continue suffering or to become free? If we want to be free from the suffering, then we should firmly decide that we'll no longer be lured by this delusion. Next is our practice in real situations. One day, I was arguing with someone. I found that I was repeating myself over and over again, saying, "No, that was not my intention. No, that's not what I'm doing." In that moment, I saw the root of what I was doing. I was trying to say, I'm not that kind of a person. I'm better than that. It was the conception of self and me trying to be protective of the deluded self, being defensive. When I realized that I was holding on to a delusion, I was like, what was I doing? At that moment, the conception of self was gone. Nothing lingered in my mind to bother me. There was nothing more to persuade or argue about. To deal with the conception of self, we should be able to notice it when it is functioning as soon as we can. That is not always easy. But when we feel disturbed, angry, embarrassed, or feeling down on ourselves, there is a good chance that the root of it is the conception of self. Try to see whether any attempt to reveal and leave a good image of ourselves to both others and ourselves is there, or whether that effort is being frustrated. If yes, then that's it. That is the conception of self, which is delusion. But struggling to get rid of a delusion doesn't work, because it is like trying to get rid of ripples on the surface of water by stirring it with our hands. So instead of struggling to get rid of it, the scripture says that we take a suitable measure of only whether or not we are affected by it. It's like checking and examining our mind to see whether we are being swayed by the delusion. The mind that is taking a suitable measure is the mind that is free from the delusion. In that moment, the conception of self vanishes of itself. Practicing no self is not an easy task. However, there is a verse that guides us to a fast route to no self. Wrapping up, I'd like to leave you with this 화두. 무아, 무불아. No self, no non-self. If we study this 화두, we'll be able to realize that the no self is the true self, and the no self is the great self. I hope we always continue on this practice path together, so that we all can let go of small egocentric self and embrace the whole world as our great self, saving ourselves and others from suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Young, for your very insightful talk, guiding us to deeply investigate our conception and preconception of self. If we can really realize what Reverend Young said, wouldn't that be so wonderful for each of us, for the whole world? Today, why don't we take a moment to share our takeaway, or anything that stays in your mind, or any question arising in your mind with our friends. Please pair up and then do share one takeaway or question from this talk. And our friends, please share your thought in the live chat, or you can converse with your family members. So, and Kelly and our friend here together, and two. You can converse. How
do you feel? 어지러워? 가만히 거기 있어 그냥.
Thank you for your wonderful Dharma conversation, each other. Please do continue more. Well, we haven't done this reflection and sharing time. This is first time actually doing it. So you are our guinea pigs today in this Dharma hall. Thank you for creating that energy. Now there will be a music video by young 교무님s in Korea. Many thanks to Jared who edited this together with this translation for subtitles. And very vibrant, lovely singing and rap music like a 교무님 BTS. So enjoy it, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you all.
사은님의 은혜 이미 공기처럼 뿌려져서 우리에겐 멀어지네. 없어서는 살 수 없는 너와 나의 은혜 속에 일원상에 그친 은혜 보은의 꽃 피어나네.
가난한 마음에 빛을 주시고 내게 영생의 밝은 항상 열어주시는 작은 일시여 감사합니다. 언제나
All is grace.
Thank